Previously on F1.
The season is underway. Vettel takes the victory. Whoa. Lewis Hamilton wins. Stunning. I love this. That's incredible. He is the master. He's got that. Button leads the Grand Prix.
Round 8, Europe.
It's not a bad place to spend your Sunday afternoon, is it? Good afternoon and welcome to the 2011 European Grand Prix live from Valencia. It's race 8 of a truly special season. It's time for this Spanish city to bask in the glory of Formula One and try and live up to the drama that we saw in Canada 2 weeks ago. No pressure then.
Here in Montreal, a wet track should simply make this one of the best races of the year. Safety car is in this lap. Thank goodness we're going to have a race. And he's touched. Webber is round. He's always in the wars, is Lewis.
Spare me your judgments and spare me your dreams.
Oh, no, McLaren's touch.
What is he doing? Rain down on me.
This is difficult times for McLaren.
Look how hard it's raining.
It's absolutely chucking it down.
So well, but you can't see anything. It's undrivable. It's undrivable.
It is a red flag situation. The race is suspended.
That looks like the red-shouldered blackbird to me.
And the fans jumping up and pointing. It's a racing car. We haven't seen one of those for a while. Fernando Alonso's beats the Ferrari. And look, it's that
got a puncture.
It just all keeps falling into place, doesn't it, for Red Bull? Jenson Button is in last place now. Brilliant driving. Schumacher surely driving the best race since his comeback. Cars off all over the place. Button now streaming back through the field. This is going to be a titanic scrap, isn't it? Button sails past Webber, somehow finding enough grip. Schumacher, Button goes the long way round. Is he ahead of him? Yes, he is. Button up into second place.
This race is not over for the win. What can Button do? You can see Vettel, you can smell the victory. Is there enough time left?
Are we going to run out of time before we run out of laps? A beautiful drive from the 6 times through the pits, Jenson Button.
We can have him. We can win this race, Jenson.
Vettel leads as he goes into the final lap. Button, the new fastest lap of the race, driving for his life, driving for the victory. Has Vettel got what it takes to hold him off? He's got that. Button leads the Grand Prix. Jenson Button, he wins a brilliant race. What a victory.
Brilliant, Jenson. Absolutely brilliant.
We see Vettel finally cracking. He's made a mistake. Surely the greatest Formula One victory of Jenson Button's career.
It really was quite something, wasn't it? Indeed, it probably was the win of Jenson's life. In fact, it was one of the races of our lifetime. And what do this team do once they've achieved such glory? Do they sit back, relax, reflect on it? Not in this sport, and not when you're training to Red Bull by such a margin. In fact, almost to emphasise the points, this is a brand new front wing on the McLaren. No matter how quick they went in Canada, they want to go even quicker here. There really is no time in this sport for reflecting on anything. But once you've retired, you can maybe have a little look back, and that's why David Coulthard and Eddie Jordan are alongside me. And to both of you, really, apart from just the drive and the win by Jenson, what is your standout memory that you'll take away from that weekend? Eddie?
Well, On returning home, absolutely everybody I met was euphoric about the whole result. Everybody was captivated by what Jensen did and the excitement of the race. And Canada, for everybody that I came across anyway, that was the standout memory.
Well, it was a great story for Formula One. We had a different winner. We had an amazing win and an amazing drive from Jensen. But the thing I take out of it is that McLaren got so close to having one of those nightmare situations where you're explaining how your drivers crash into each other, like we saw with Red Bull in Turkey a year ago. But with that stunning drive from Jensen, everything, the heat was taken out of that, and suddenly that was not the story.
Well, as the opening to our show was being played, actually, all of the guys here, all the mechanics, all the engineers in the garage were watching it with big smiles on their faces. But that is the margin between success and failure in Formula One. And in terms of the psychology of a Formula One driver that you'll know all about, David, was that worth more than just 25 points to Jensen Button this year, that win?
Yeah, that was an incredible drive. He was running 4 or 5 seconds a lap quicker than anyone else in those conditions. And what would have appeared to Sebastian Vettel as a fairly straightforward just drive it to the line turned out to be he was under pressure, and he put a wheel out on the damp. So stunning victory, lots of overtaking, which drivers love to do, and those conditions are made for Jensen.
And taking a quick look at the calendar this season, Eddie, the races that have brought us here and the races that are still to come, Jensen will be thinking, hold on a minute, I'm 60 points behind Sebastian Vettel, but there's still 300 points to fight for this season. He's still in this, isn't he? That sort of performance can turn a season around.
Well, he is still in it, but you know, he still has to be really careful how he accumulates the points. And he really has, in my opinion, has to get his qualifying. He needs to be further up the grid to challenge. OK, and you can see exactly what happened to Jensen in qualifying very shortly. The other big story of that race, of course, Sebastian Vettel made a slip, and that doesn't happen very often. So it's very hot outside. We're gearing up for the race today. The fans are arriving. The drivers are arriving. In fact, they've got the beach here. They've got some wonderful bars. There's lots of other things the drivers could be doing. But as always in Formula One, Sunday is a bit of a work day for these boys.
It's so lovely when it's sunny.
So the drivers are all in the house. Well, let's go for a bit of a walk and give everybody at home a chance to see this beautiful sunny circuit. The track temperature yesterday was getting towards 50 degrees in the evening, so that's why both of these boys will be frowning at me when I bring them out here into the sunshine. So let's talk about this place then, David, because it is a very hot place to come, but there are plenty of good reasons to be here. It's a wonderful city to come to, isn't it?
It is. A lot of money's been spent developing this facility, and where the actual Grand Prix track sits, this whole area was developed for the America's Cup. Then once they had that facility, they thought, well, what else can we do? And they created this Grand Prix track that goes around the port, very clearly displayed there. And you can see we're looking at one of the straights, as we would call it here. It's not actually straight, so that's going to make it very interesting today with the use of DRS, because obviously the cars are going to be moving from one side of the track naturally, taking the racing line.
And it keeps it very slippery, doesn't it, this kind of circuit that's used temporarily?
It does indeed. It's only used once a year, and a lot of trucks out there building up this track for the couple of months before the Grand Prix, and you can see we've had a number of incidents here. This was Kobayashi on the entry to turn 25, getting it all wrong, and then we have Michael Schumacher on turn in, losing the back end. And no, that's not his normal line. Yeah. That's an exercise in reverse parking.
Now, Eddie, there are some great things about this place. The port, the fish markets. I mean, these buildings here are old tinglados, so these buildings where the cars are based used to actually be a fish market. There's some nice things, but one overtake in the race in 2009. We saw 82 in Turkey this year. This is a real test for the new regulations, isn't it?
Well, we want to see, are the new regulations working? And if you're ever looking for a prime place to see exactly where you are, then it's here. This is very similar to Monaco, street circuit, right in the center of the city. It has huge affection to a lot of people, and me included. I've been won over by this place, but we actually have to be certain that we can get a proper race and passing in that manner.
Well, maybe today is the day to find out if that can happen, Eddie. So the sun's beating down on us, and actually the heat is on the rest of the pack, apart from Sebastian Vettel at the moment. You can see there 60 points between Sebastian and Jensen Button, and very few people mentioned after that Canadian race that Sebastian increased his lead because Lewis was sitting second. He's now fourth, and as far as the Constructors' Championship's concerned, 255 points for Red Bull, very much in the box seats as far as that's concerned. But actually, there are some new rules in Formula One this weekend. They've made a slight change, the sports governing body, to the engine mapping system during qualifying, which essentially many people believe was designed to try and slow down Red Bull. However, once again, one man slightly forgot to read the script. Here's Ted Kravitz.
Anyone who came to Valencia hoping for a surprise result in qualifying would have left the track sorely disappointed. Sebastian Vettel was quickest again, so starts on pole for the 7th time out of this season's 8 races. Down the field, Jarno Trulli underlined how tricky this track is with this lazy spin at the end of his lap. Conveniently, the pits were nearby. Jaime Alguersuari's visualization techniques didn't work for him. The Toro Rosso driver, again, an early dropout.
Today we just went for one go, you know, on the first lap, and I got big traffic. I couldn't do it on the first lap. I tried it on the second lap, you know, and the tyre was already gone.
Faced with a failing fuel pump in his Williams, Pastor Maldonado couldn't find the hard shoulder and instead parked his car in the middle of the track, which suspended the session. Into the top 10 shootout then, when everyone qualified pretty much where they expected to be. Adrian Sutil is 10th for Force India, Heidfeld 9th in the Renault, and Mercedes next up, but Nico Rosberg has an advantage for the race today. He saved a fresh set of tyres by just doing one run. Michael Schumacher isn't predicting any fireworks though.
Where we are, there is not much chance to look really forward in the race trim. So it's going to be more staying in position and drive it to the end and take the points that we can take.
From the highs of Canada, Jenson Button was brought back down to earth with a bump, only 6th on the grid, the rear of the car getting away from him, meaning the Ferraris of Felipe Massa and Fernando Alonso start ahead of the McLaren on the grid. 4th, a great result for Alonso on home soil.
4th, we know that is our maximum position at the moment. Red Bull is out of reach as the last, I think, 13 pole positions regarding the last races of last year. So this is Formula One, no magic tricks from one race to another. So the real goal was to beat the McLarens. So we have one McLaren in front, one behind. So more or less it's achieved the goal. And yeah, either Felipe or me, I think we start in between them, and hopefully tomorrow we can fight for podium, which is the main goal for this weekend.
But the top 3 were as they were at this track last year. Lewis Hamilton felt he drove a brilliant lap and outdrove the car to 3rd position. Mark Webber improved to 2nd place under pressure on the final run. But having already been easily quickest, Sebastian Vettel called off his final attempt and retired to the garage to consider his genius behind the wheel. The 22-year-old now has 20 pole positions, 10th in the all-time list, and only 2 behind Nelson Piquet and Niki Lauda.
This is a good fresh start this weekend, and hopefully we can at least, I would love to even just finish in my position. I would be more than happy. Our race pace has been pretty good over the last few races, so as Jenson proves, so let's see how it goes.
It was a good time to peak and get the best lap right at the end there for myself. A personal best obviously wasn't enough for Seb, but it was a good lap to put me pretty close to him. And ahead of the 2 McLarens and Ferraris, so certainly would have taken that in the middle of qualifying.
It will be a long Grand Prix. It's difficult to predict, especially with the races we have seen so far. So, but surely, you know, when you start from pole, you don't want to finish 2nd.
So Sebastian Vettel, the only driver smiling after qualifying. Mark Webber alongside at a track the Australian dislikes. Lewis Hamilton will be looking to overtake one Red Bull at the start, and the Ferraris are ready to pounce as well. Button only 6th, followed by Rosberg, Schumacher, Heidfeld and Adrian Sutil. Paul di Resta's 12th for his first Grand Prix in Valencia. Kamui Kobayashi could one stop, starting 14th on the grid. Sergio Perez, his teammate, is fit to race from 16th. And at the back of the grid, it's the Team Lotus, Virgins and Hispanias.
So there you go, that's the grid for today. Once again, we're in the Pole Sitters Garage. It's a real treat to be in here. A hive of activity with just over half an hour to go. And as I speak, there he comes, the world champion, with his headphones on, gearing himself up for today's race. Clearly very focused. I'm not sure what music he's listening to. David, perhaps you can give us an insight into Seb's favourite band.
It's German folk music.
Is it? Very nice.
Actually,
I thought it would be.
That's not true. It's Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. He's completely infatuated by Deep Purple. So there's a little insight for you.
Really? I thought it would be The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. How many times, Eddie, have we stood here in awe of that driver and in awe of this car? But this weekend, it shouldn't have been like that, should it, in qualifying?
Well, indeed, it shouldn't, because the rule makers, the legislators, they decided they thought the advantage this particular car had was to do with the engine mapping. They changed it so as you couldn't change the mapping and hopefully slow this thing down. It didn't happen. They've got it wrong.
OK, so Sebastian does the business again. It was a really good lap from Mark Webber as well. But David, perhaps the happiest man is Lewis Hamilton. He starts 3rd on the grid for this race. Maybe he will be looking at last year's race, because the front 5 starts in exactly the same position as 12 months ago. And he had a great start, didn't he?
Yeah, well, remarkably, as you say, it's the same grid line that he had last year. He really launched off that inside line. It's a cleaner part of the track and worth about a car's length in terms of grip, and he put that to good effect, and then gets his nose down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. How did they both manage to get through that corner without touching? is an exercise in great driving. Here we get the in-car view of that, a massive launch from the grid, gets right up alongside Mark Webber, who sensibly moves aside. And then this is the key area we need to look out for today. Into turn 2, there is a big window of opportunity to get down that inside. And you can see they can actually launch themselves over that inside curve. And it's all down to whether the guy in front leaves enough space or not.
Be interesting to see, actually, after all the criticism for Lewis Hamilton in the past couple of weeks, Eddie, whether he gives us such an exciting start today.
I have no doubt there will be no change. And if there is a change, I'd be 1, disappointed, and 2, surprised. The guy drives with his heart. Yes, he does make mistakes, but they're very tiny mistakes, and for the risks he takes, I think the reward will be there for him in the future.
OK, well, we quite like pushing the limits and the rules here on the Formula One, but I think all that noise was a message from Red Bull to get out of our garage. We've got a race to prepare for. Obviously, plenty of eyes will be on this car today, and also plenty of eyes focused on a car 3 places behind, Fernando Alonso, who amazingly has never done particularly well at either home Grand Prix. However, everywhere he goes, he still has Fernando fanatics following his every move, as you can see right now. And one of them tends to be our very own Lee Mackenzie.
Fernando, thanks for sparing us some time, because I know it's a really busy weekend for you. Some drivers don't even have one home Grand Prix, and you're blessed to have 2.
Yeah, it's good news for me. Obviously, I like to race in Spain. I like to see all the fans sharing this love for Formula One, and it's my sport, has been my life for the last 20 years, and now racing in Spain 2 times is good for them, and to watch these cars is something unique, and we need to make the best of these years, because we never know when we will have two Grand Prix in Spain. Maybe it will be for a few more years, or you never know. So we need to maximize this time.
And just what is the Alonso mania, I think they call it? What's that like? Because Formula One has really been helped and given a boost in this country, really because of you.
2004 was the first time Spain saw Formula One in live on TV, and it was my best years, 2005, 2006. So there is a lot of passion for Formula One and a lot of passion for myself. So every time I go out for a restaurant, cinema, or very normal things, there is a little bit of crazy people around me, but it's very nice to feel all that support, and hopefully I can pay back with some good results, especially here racing at home.
And there's going to be some fans that you're about to meet now. Is it nice to get up close and speak to them, especially here in Spain?
Yeah, they are a little bit shy when they see me. I noticed that, but it's good, and not only here. As I said, when you arrive to the airport, in the hotel, there is fans everywhere. Sometimes you need to look also in your room, but it's all okay.
Well, enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
The poor guy has aching wrists each weekend, and that's before he starts racing the car. And the star attraction is in the Ferrari garage at the back, sitting on his chair. He's just putting on his gear ahead of putting on his helmet. So on goes the balaclava. Eddie, Fernando Alonso there, who's busy thinking about this race, and not the fact that he's 92 points behind Sebastian Vettel. Ferrari 150 points behind Red Bull. When did this team start turning their attention to 2012 and not 2011, do you think?
Well, if they were a normal team, let's call them normal, but you can never do that with Ferrari, you would already have started, because it's too far, it's too big a gap. But you know, the pressure on Ferrari in Italy and other parts of the world is massive, and they can never ever give up. They have to keep on the struggle. Okay, big day for Fernando. How much would he love to win in Spain? That would be quite special, wouldn't it? And what about Jenson Button? Well, he starts from 6th on the grid today, which means he'll have to overtake a few people if he's going to do the business. Here he is making his way to the back of the garage. However, a few overtakes won't face him. He managed to overtake 14 cars in the final 5 laps in Canada, a race that I think he'll be rewinding and watching again and again. It's been said, it's been written, Canada was Jenson Button's greatest ever win. Where does it stack up for you?
I would say yes, it's my greatest ever win, you know. To come through from last to first and have everything else going in the race, yeah, it was definitely my best victory. I like those conditions where you have to really feel your way around. Maybe it's from when I was karting. Before I started racing, my father wouldn't buy me any wet tyres when it was raining. I had to run around on slicks. Yeah, because he said he wanted me to learn how to drive and rise in the wet to get car control. He says that now, but basically he just couldn't afford to get me any wet tyres or couldn't be bothered.
So what you're saying is, 20 years ago your dad was rather tight, and now he's claiming...
He was tight, yeah.
...all the credit for your brilliant win.
Of course he is. It's my father for you.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him, do you? Well, you may have been inside the car, but one of the best seats in the house was for the millions who stayed up till 10:30 at night to see the victory. So, would you like the chance to see what they saw and relive some of the best moments?
I'd love to. It's my first chance to see it.
Really?
Yeah.
OK, well, it's not the full 4 hours, 4 minutes and 39 seconds.
OK.
You'd be glad to know.
OK.
This is just the highlights.
Yeah, I don't think this bit was a highlight, this one.
No, we've got the highlights and the lowlights here for you.
Yeah, to McLaren's touch. Lewis Hamilton, obviously with suspension damage, puncture.
I got a bad exit at the corner before. I started moving over to the left, which is the racing line. Yeah. I looked in my mirrors before, and I saw an orange rear wing, but I didn't know if it was mine or if it was Lewis's. I didn't know where he was.
What was he doing? Was what you said.
Well,
Did you just feel like he was in the wrong place?
At that point in time, I didn't know how far he was up my inside or outside, if you like, because I couldn't see a thing behind, so I didn't really know what was going on. So it was that was the first reaction. It was first of all shock. I mean, how did that happen? And also, it was so lucky that I didn't get turned into the pit wall.
There's no credence to the rumours that Lewis has come up against you a few times this season and put a couple of slightly cheeky passes on you almost and gone off. And it wasn't you laying down a marker and letting your teammate know that
I don't want to crash, and I don't want to. You know, I was lucky to get away with it, you know, to not actually have any damage. I actually thought I had a puncture, but I didn't. Yeah. To get away with no damage from anything like that is very lucky, and I wanted to go and win the race, so yeah, I wouldn't do anything like that.
Fernando Alonso beats the Ferrari. And look,
Button's got a puncture.
Jenson Button is in last place now.
Yeah, I was a long way up the inside. I was actually in front. And then he accelerated into the corner, which is very strange. I think he was trying to find his feet on the tyres he just put on.
Button absolutely flying out there.
So how good were you feeling in the car at this point? Because you were starting to pick up some places now.
Every move you make, it feels so good.
Really?
It really does.
A lot of people have said this to me in the past week. At this point, where did Jenson's pace come from?
Everyone was just driving around slow. I don't really know what's going on.
Nearly lost it. Webber, Button sails past him, somehow finding enough grip.
How close was this to being a big accident?
It doesn't look so bad, but it's a lot worse than that, because I saw him get the oversteer, so I had to flick the car to the left onto the wet part of the circuit, and it was just floating on the wet surface. But
that was a big moment, actually.
Yeah, it was. I had that real sort of hot feeling,
really?
That buzz, and then up behind the 7-time world champion.
Schumacher's looking in his mirror. Button goes the long way round. Is he ahead of him? Yes, he is. Button up into second place.
I didn't know if I was going to get past Sebastian on the last lap.
We can have him. We can win this race, Jenson.
The aim was to aim it just right so they could get him on the DRS on the back straight, but pushed him into a mistake.
I think Vettel's got wide.
Yeah,
he's got wide.
Button leads the Grand Prix. He wins a brilliant race.
It was nice to see him crack under pressure or make a mistake under pressure, and I think Formula One as a whole, and I think a lot of fans wanted to see that, and it was good to see that. And I think we need it as a sport to see that.
Were you starting to think he wasn't human?
No, didn't think
it was
that
looking like that though for a while. It was not. I mean,
don't know.
It's true. Yeah, it was an opportunity to see that, like everyone else, he can make mistakes.
Yeah. Hopefully, if we can pressure them more this season, put them under pressure, we'll see some more of that, and we can take the advantage.
So when you tell us you can win the title, that's not just PR speak for the cameras. That's genuine.
It's definitely genuine.
An amazing race, and we were so happy that so many of you could join us for it. So less than half an hour to go, which means the pit lane is open. It might be a little bit loud for the next few minutes, but it's good for the crowds. As Kamui Kobayashi goes past me, who've all got their cameras out ready to take photos, and perhaps they'll be taking another photo of Jenson Button today if it rains, but the chances are slim. There is something, though, about Jenson. His first win came in strange conditions. The 3 wins for McLaren have come in wet, dry conditions. He's good in that sort of thing, isn't he?
he has that feel. It's a natural talent that he's got, that he's able to find the balance. And he talks about his father not giving him the tyres. In actual fact, in hindsight, it was probably the best little lesson that he ever had.
Yeah, and as far as the teammate-to-teammate moment was concerned on the track in Canada, I mean, sometimes we've seen these kind of things produce World War III within a team, but it seems to have been dealt with quite well by McLaren.
Well, they got the dream result. They won the Grand Prix. Had that not been the case, then I'm sure that would have carried on and been the story after that event. But they had the 2-hour window, of course, when we're sitting there with red flags. But look at the replays, and as we see the run off the corner there again, Lewis clearly had a bit more speed. But anyway, that's part of the history books now. It was a great win for Jenson. OK, and you know what it's like, of course, to tap your teammate, because you and Mika Häkkinen did exactly the same thing. What kind of thing gets said after an incident like this in '99, David? Well, this was 100% my fault. I went for a gap, but I was hoping he would brake early. He didn't, and it was always going wrong from the moment I hit the brakes. And of course, for the team, that wasn't good. I went on to finish second in that race, which added insult to injury. And yeah, what can you do? Don't do it again. Did you apologise to Mika? Of course. Yeah, it was my fault. Why would you not apologise? Good. Very magnanimous, because I know what racing drivers could be like, hey, Eddie?
Well, you know, he's very nice now that he's properly retired. But right in the heat of the moment, racing drivers don't like to do apologies, so I commend you for doing such a noble act. OK, well, it's getting very loud in here, so I think we should pot out of the pit lane for just a couple of moments, because people have been applauding Jenson Button for the past week, but questioning Lewis Hamilton. I suppose no one can really know what's going on with Lewis at the moment, but one man has quite a good idea. He won 3 world titles, including one of them with Lewis's current team. Nicky Lauda's with Ted.
Well, Nicky, some of our viewers might have read some quite strong comments you had to say about Lewis Hamilton. Tell us what you actually said and meant.
So first of all, I want to correct things if they were interpreted in the wrong way. I think that Hamilton is one of the top 3 guys in Formula 1. He's the quickest guy. He's, for me, an amazing racing driver. What I criticized him on was in Montreal, attacking his teammate between the pit wall and Jenson's car, where unfortunately he had to stop, and lucky enough, Jenson could finish the race and even win it. This I criticized, to attack the teammate so hard that both might have stopped, and then for McLaren nothing would have happened. This was my criticism, and I say again, he's the best guy today. If he in the right moment would ease off a bit and get the points he needs for the championship. And this is what I criticize. If you want to be world champion, you have to collect points. And now for 2 races he has not collected points, so I hope he will do today.
I think he almost had a mindset of, I'm an overtaking driver, therefore I must overtake, and didn't think of the long view.
Yeah, but I can tell you, between racing drivers, I've been one, and I know that Lewis is aggressive. So some guys will be frightened when he turns up in the back, the slower guys. So they move over, and this is happening in Formula 1. But if you want to make your point as a racing driver, like Jenson has to do, he should not move over, because if he continues to move over, then Lewis will be gone, and he can never think of winning races again. So between racing drivers, there's very hard work. Some guys he knows will move, and Jenson did not move. And I think Jenson didn't even see him when he attacked him there. So with Schumacher was the same thing in the past, or is still today. When Schumacher turns up in the back, everybody knows there is no compromise. But if you let the thing happen, then he will drive through the whole field and win, and nobody wants that.
Thanks very much, Nicky.
There you go, Nicky Lauda echoing pretty much everybody's thoughts. They want to see Lewis Hamilton continue to be as exciting, dramatic and as brilliant to watch as ever. And David, before you disappear off to the commentary box to call another race that's brilliant, hopefully, Lewis Hamilton, he tends to bounce back from difficult weekends with good performances, and he looks like a very driven young man here, doesn't he?
Well, he does indeed, but the problem is he's just not got the quick enough car. If he was starting on the front row, he wouldn't have any of these incidents and accidents. He'd just be driving off in the distance. So, you know, we're obviously analysing the decisions he's making behind the wheel, but the focus has to be, and I'm sure it is, for McLaren to deliver the fastest car. Yeah, it's funny that Vettel's not hitting anybody, is he, at the moment? OK, right, David, off you go. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Good luck in the commentary box today. And while David makes his way upstairs, I suppose around here people could hang out on the beach, they could hang out in the city, but the thing to do is to come down here to what was once a fish market and watch Formula 1 cars flying around. It's a great place for the fans, and the weather's not bad either.
OK, well, it's time for us to make our way onto the grid at the moment. And when we get on there, Eddie, the first place that we'll be when we arrive on the grid is right in between the Force India and the Renault, Nick Heidfeld and Adrian Sutil. And Pirelli aren't happy at the moment because both of those drivers didn't go out for the final part of qualifying yesterday to save tyres, and Pirelli are concerned and Formula One are concerned that that's just not good for the show at the moment.
Well, the rules are there, and people circumvent rules to their best advantage. And if it's there, the teams are within their rights to do whatever they can to give them the best chance of picking up points. I don't have any real problem. If they want to eradicate that or insert a new rule, then do so, but don't blame the teams.
OK, so if you were still running Jordan and you knew that by saving a set of tyres and not going out in qualifying would help you, you would do that?
I would do anything, and I mean anything, to give the team, its sponsors and its people the very best chance.
OK, well, this is a treat, isn't it? Always coming out onto the grid is special. Nico Rosberg. Nico, just a quick blank from you. Thanks a lot. He loves doing that and giving me a little smile as he walks away. But let's come on to the middle of it.
I hope that's not indicative of what's going to happen here today.
Well, Eddie, this is your grid walk, so I'm going to let you fire away and take me around, I think, and chat to a few people. What do you think? What about your old mate, your mate Nick Heidfeld?
Nick Heidfeld.
Normally good for a quote.
Nick, may I just have a word? Big race?
Well, we hope so. It's going to be interesting what happens to the Mercedes. Sometimes they struggle in the race with their tyre wear. Could be a chance here for us.
You think you can get back to some of the performance you had at the beginning of the season, some points all the time and up on the pole position?
Yeah.
Sorry, on the podium, I meant.
Well, here it's going to be difficult, but it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in Silverstone with all the rule changes. Some people think it's going to hurt us a lot, but actually I obviously hope that it's not going to be too bad.
Thank you very much. Have a great race.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Have a good one. Now, there's a man that I would really love to speak to up here. We're here at the European Grand Prix. This man, Eddie, picked up a couple of European Cups in his time with Forest. Trevor Francis, the first £1 million player. I'll tell you what I'm interested in, is what he thinks of the current earnings in Formula One at the moment. Trevor, we just have a quick word for the BBC. Nice to see you. So you were the first £1 million player in British football. Tell us what you think of the current money and the earnings in Formula One. What do you make of it?
I think it's a bit absurd, you know, the prices now. It was 32 years ago when I went for £1 million, and that broke the record by about 500,000. I think today, you know, it's got out of control, I really do. But I think there won't be too long before we talk about a £100 million transfer.
Who would that be, Messi?
Well, Messi or Ronaldo, one of the two.
Trevor, I've got to ask you a question that's in the back of my mind for a very long time, and that is, you won 2 European Cup medals under the great Cloughy.
That's right.
Where do you place Cloughy in a Formula One context? What team would you put him in, and how would he do?
I think, well, he could manage any team. He was so good. You know, to get success with Derby and Forest was an unbelievable achievement. I think he'd quite like to be with McLaren, you know, with Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button. I think that would suit him.
I think he'd be great. One final question before we go. How special is this? I mean, we've got a grandstand here right on the track. This is a bit like walking out at Old Trafford or at Wembley before a cup final.
I was just thinking exactly the same. I'm nervous. You know, this is an unbelievable ambience and great occasion, and I'm really looking forward to the race.
Okay, well, you're lucky to be here. You'll get lots of emails asking where you got the pass from after this. You know that, don't you?
Don't worry, he was a legend. 50-odd times played for England. I tell you, why don't we go over here? Because I think there has been a bit of an upside on the Force India team.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen Adrian Sutil for a while. Let's see, can we try and sneak in here? He's got a very special pair of glasses. Let me have a look. Are you ready for the BBC? Let's have, no, it's not Adrian. Here we are. You remember me? I don't remember you, actually. Adrian, what's happened? First time in Q3? Big performance uplift with the car?
Yeah, it was a good qualifying yesterday. I'm really happy. You can see it here, I'm happy. So, but it's a long race. So
let's hope you're happy at the end of the race.
Exactly, that's more important. Today, the important day, but I have a good feeling for the race with a good strategy.
And Adrian, only Eddie Jordan could start an interview like this and not ask the question, what are the glasses all about?
Just fun.
What I want to know more importantly, we've interviewed Paul, your teammate. How good a teammate is he?
He's a great teammate, yeah. We have a good relationship and he's always pushing. So we're always close together and it's very good for the team. So we score both points, hopefully very soon and hopefully today.
Let's hope we do that.
Both. Well done. Congratulations, Adrian. Eddie, let's go for a walk, because it's worth pointing out and congratulating Adrian, not just on a very good sense of humour there, but also on his qualifying, making it into Q3 for the first time in a while. But Paul Di Resta starting 12th. He's had a very, very difficult weekend, hasn't he?
Well, he has had the most difficult weekend. Remember, they have a policy in this team that they allow the third driver go out in one of the sessions on the early morning on the Friday. And what happened? He crashed the car badly, which curtailed greatly the amount of running that, in fact, Paul had in the car. So to qualify 12th for me was a very big success.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Jenson Button. Here's his car sitting on the grid at the moment, sitting 6th on the grid as well. And Eddie, we made the point yesterday.
We'd like to see Jenson if we could, wouldn't we?
He's not around, sadly. He's nipped off somewhere. But if he
hang
wants
on,
to,
I've got somebody here.
If he wants to improve his racing, Eddie, Jenson's got to sort out Saturdays, hasn't he?
He has to start at qualifying. He must. I believe he is a real contender for the championship, but not from 6th on the grid. He has to up his game in qualifying.
Right, time to go and say hello to your old friend, I think. This should be interesting.
Bernie, can I He's running away from me. He can't get away from me that easy. Bernie, are we going to have many more races here in Valencia?
I hope so. That's what we're working on now. We hope we have, certainly for a long time now.
Can you possibly see in the future 2 races? Is there justification for having 2 races so close to each other, not just in terms of distance, but in terms of the calendar as well? Can Spain sustain this?
It's not easy to sort out properly, you know. We've been with Barcelona a long time, but we'll see what happens with this as well.
When you say we've been with Barcelona a long time, that almost makes it sound like you're saying Barcelona have been with us for long enough. No?
How do you mean?
Do you think that Barcelona's had its time? Can you support 2 Spanish races on the calendar?
I don't think so, really. I think, you know, we have to see if how we can work things out.
Okay. And lots of talk about the US Grand Prix.
They've been good for us, and here's good. It's all very new, so it's super.
Yeah. Your view on the racing bar last week in Canada?
Wonderful race. They all ought to. I hope this one's like that. And Placido's here.
Well, let's have a quick word with them.
God.
Placido Domingo, a true legend here on the grid.
Hi.
Placido, wonderful to see you.
Thank you very much.
A long-term fan of Formula One?
Always, since '77 and even before with the Carrera Panamericana in Mexico, many years.
Okay, so tell us where you think Fernando Alonso sits then alongside the pantheon of great drivers.
I hope that the championship it goes better. You know, I hope that people like Fernando and other drivers they start to win races. You know, I know the extreme power of Red Bull, but let's see.
I noticed that I saw you before the start of the parade lap here earlier. You were with Fernando. Are you a guest of Fernando's here this weekend?
Well, I think that he's looking forward so much, you know. I mean, he would like rather to be in the pole or second, you know. But 4th is not bad, and I hope that for me he's a great champion, and with Ferrari, and I hope that Felipe is on it. And I also hope that it is only a safe race and a clean race also, you know. So
you're a Ferrari fan then?
Yeah, at this moment, yes, very much.
Do you have a Ferrari? Do you have a Ferrari?
No, I don't have.
I'm sure
anyway, great pleasure to meet you.
I will, okay?
Placido, lovely to chat to you. Thank you very much indeed. And Placido actually spends a lot of his time in the States, so I'm sure that he would be keen for a US Grand Prix. Now, we were going to head and speak to Felipe Massa, but he's not about. Actually, Eddie, Jenson Button's your man, I think. Go on.
Jenson, 1 second. Can you repeat last week?
2 weeks. Can I repeat 2 weeks ago? It's a little bit different conditions today, but I haven't made it easy for myself down in 6, but we can have a good race from there. And, you know, with the new DRS zones here, I think it's going to make for some good racing, isn't it?
Now, Jenson always gets the plaudits when we're on the grid and when we're chatting to him. But this is the man that really makes the difference to a World Champions weekend. Isn't that right, JB?
Yeah, come on, he's good with the microphone. Give it to him.
OK, so this is Mikey Muscles, called so for the obvious reasons.
I've got to go.
No, just... He's got to go and keep Jenson dry and out of the sunshine. There's not going to be a lot of rain here at the moment, though, is there, Eddie?
Well, we talked about why, you know, 6th place in normal circumstances is a very good qualifying, but to win the race in these conditions, it's just a step too far. OK, well, let's just turn around and give you a little look at the rest of the grid, and we can see we're right behind Lewis Hamilton's car. He put on such a show for us last year. He put on a fantastic lap in qualifying yesterday, Eddie, standing here looking down towards the start of the grid, soaking up the atmosphere, the huge grandstand on the outside left. What do you expect to happen at the start of this one? Well, there's a lot of I hope he doesn't change. This recent criticism of his driving style, I mean, that's why I turn on the telly. I want to see him drive like this, and the same with Kobayashi and other those aggressive drivers. And we heard what Niki Lauda had to say. This, for me, is something special, and we can always be assured of something really dynamic from this man, and I just hope we can do it here this weekend.
Sure, well, it would be lovely to grab hold of Lewis, but sadly he's not here. And finally, how different are these grids to the days when you were running Jordan? Because they're pretty frantic at the moment.
I'm sorry, Jack, I didn't hear that with that last noise. What changed?
You were looking at something else.
No, I
Is this similar to your day when you were racing with Jordan, these grids?
Well, I don't think it changes because, you know, the teams, they haven't got a clue what's going around. They've got peripheral vision. They are just completely and absolutely focused on what they need to do. And everyone in the team is totally in one area. How can we get the best start? How can we get the best result? Nothing else matters at the moment.
Okay, that's what's running through Lewis Hamilton's mind at the moment, particularly when you consider the speed with which Sebastian Vettel set the pole time here. The first man to dip under the 1:37. Let's ride on board with him for what was a pretty special lap to take pole position.
The 3.3-mile Valencia street circuit. Sebastian Vettel's on pole yet again. Let's take a look at that lap. A very slow entry into the pit straight. The stopwatch doesn't begin until he crosses the line now. Up to 180 miles an hour through turn 1. Simply an approach zone for the braking area of turn 2. Down to just 60 miles an hour. Didn't quite hook up with the apex curb. Hard on the throttle and very close to the wall through the exit. Turns 4 and 5, a street circuit style chicane, clumping across the curbs and again running nicely through the exit, hard on the power, building up to 190 miles an hour, a sweeping right-hander of turn 7. This is turn 8, leading into the swing bridge section. Full throttle through the first part of that onto the narrower bridge. Heavy braking through the exit, back into the car, just trying to step out and a little bit eager on the throttle, spinning up the rear tyres. The long sweeping turn 11 left-hander building up to 195 miles an hour along a straight down towards the braking zone of turn 12. It's a tighter section of the racetrack. He really maximises the width of the track to minimise the angle of the corner. This is turn 13. 14 immediately ahead, around 90 miles an hour, really chasing the throttle well through there. Another straight ahead, despite it being a couple of long left-hand kinks in the approach at 185 miles an hour for the braking zone of turn 17. Second gear, just 65 miles an hour, almost a hairpin. 18 follows quickly, and then the double right of 19 and 20 that you hook up as one corner. Sweeping through the walls at 185 miles an hour, approaching the final part of the lap, and the easiest place to make a mistake right here under braking. It is the last corner, turn 25 they call it. Back end of his car was trying to get away. He gets it into the pit straight, drives across the line, and it's another pole position.
Good job. Yes. Thank you.
What a pole lap, and we've made our way off the grid and out the back of what are called the Tinglados, and you can see the beautiful old architecture. They're old fish markets, actually. Fantastic to have cars in there now. It's lovely what they've done with this place. We'll talk to Eddie in just a moment, but first let's hear from Christian Horner, whose drivers are sitting 1-2 on the grid. Their first front row lockout since Spain this year. And sadly, just as we wanted to hear from the team boss at Red Bull, we couldn't do that, which is a real shame. But I suppose one of the big worries as far as Red Bull are concerned is what we're calling the double DRS zone here at this race, Eddie, which means there's a single activation point, but there's 2 points where the teams can open their rear wing, which then reduces the drag and makes the car go faster, and hopefully, in the eyes of the Formula One world, improves overtaking. So there's the detection zone, Eddie, just before turn 8. Then you're over the bridge, and then you have the first and then the second activation zone. Now, people have said the reason for Sebastian Vettel's slip in Canada was because he was aware that this activation zone was coming up and he didn't want Jensen to overtake him. But the problem with 2 zones is you use the first one to overtake a driver and the second to pull away, which I suppose in some ways negates overtaking.
I have a slightly different view on that. I think you will see Sebastian Vettel, if he makes a decent start, or whoever leads into the first corner, making virtually a qualifying lap, because he will want to make sure he breaks that 1 second marker. If he can break that, then it's going to be so much more difficult, because they're not going to be able to be allowed to be in the zone to activate it. So if I was the driver on pole position and I was making the move, I would do everything in my power to make a big start here.
OK, well, here we are, back live on the grid. There's Rubens Barrichello, who, of course, won here for Brawn. Vitaly Petrov starts from 11th, but I just do want to talk about Red Bull trying to extend their advantage over the other teams. They've not been as quick in race trim, and McLaren have said they've got more downforce, they'll look after their tyres better. Lewis and Jensen both very confident that they can do something here.
They have, and they've brought different wings. I think they've a new upgraded rear wing and indeed a front wing, which we talked about earlier. I think McLaren are still in this fight. I think they are pushing very hard. Sadly, for me, I don't see the same initiative coming from Ferrari, and that's a worry.
OK, well, I wonder what's going through that man's mind at the moment. He wants the perfect start. he wants to do something to get in front of his teammate, doesn't he? OK, this is it then. Canada was pretty special, wasn't it? But it's now time for something completely different, from the high-speed, washed-out Canadian Grand Prix to the tight twists and turns of the sun-drenched city circuit. They say opposites attract. It's time to find out. Alongside Martin Brundle and David Coulthard, it's time for the 2011 European Grand Prix, live on BBC One and BBC One HD. Sebastian Vettel is sitting on pole, but trust me, there are 23 men right behind him, ready to beat him to the checkered flag. Let's hope this one can live up to 2 weeks ago.
Hey, what's up, BBC?
So you wanna be a rock superstar and live large,